one last FAQ that we had was, how is Bitcoin an inflation hedge? And the reason they say this is because पिछले 6 महीने में तो इन्फ्लेशन काफी ऊपर गया है, लेकिन पिछले 6 महीने में बिटकॉइन ऑल टाइम हाई से 50% गिर गया है. Shouldn't it be an inflation hedge? And then they compare it to gold. पिछले 6 महीने में तो gold has been up 1% or at least stable compared to all these growth stocks and all inflation hedge Bitcoin जो तो नीचे गिर गया है. And then they also, like all the naysayers also say that it has extremely high correlation to growth stocks. So I want you to answer this.
Yeah. So to understand any such concept of inflation hedge, 6 months or even 6 years is a short period of time. You have to actually give it 50 years. Only then, because the reason why you're so confident about gold is because you've looked at it for 100 years and that inflation, anti-inflation concept or the negative correlation has held for 100 years, right? Only when Bitcoin goes to 50 years old can we actually have this meaningful conversation or comparison or data. But let's for a moment assume that what we have is only 12 years. So let's live with that 12 years of data. The point is, Bitcoin is so small, right? For most of its existence, it's been less than $100 billion market cap for most of its existence, because
Yes.
till it cracked this 20-30,000 mark and it went into 18 billion coins, 17 million coins kind of range, it was actually too small to matter. So therefore you had 0.1, 0.2 trillion market cap, and therefore it cannot be an inflation hedge, right? Today, the anti-inflationary nature of Bitcoin is a theoretical hypothesis, which many of us are betting on, for lack of a better word. Versus when it's gold, somebody has a 100-year proven history. Whether we have proven right or wrong, only time will tell. And it has several variables which we can't control. It could include everything from regulation to how countries view their fiat, to how fast countries use Bitcoin, to what happens to the energy crisis in the world. It could be so many things that could influence this. But to me, the moment you have a $10 trillion Bitcoin, and I'm saying $10 trillion Bitcoin, so I'm looking at 10x from today's price, you can say, broadly speaking, 20 million Bitcoin into $50,000 is 1 trillion.
So 500,000.
So
500,000.
So I'm looking at $500,000
coin.
$500,000 per Bitcoin value. So I'm saying when it's a $10 trillion market cap, that is when you will realize that, boss, this is real money. This is sound money. I can't budge this because enough people in the world hold it. There is enough transactions happening on it, whether it's in the fiat world or whether it's Bitcoin to Bitcoin or whether it's Bitcoin to other. I think if nothing more, Bitcoin becomes the US dollar of cryptocurrencies, if nothing more, right? So it's your base cryptocurrency denomination, like the US dollar is for the world of fiat today.
And that's
so
still
that is the
way far
that
ahead.
happens.
Yeah.
And that's still a time ahead, because that will take it to be $5 to $10 trillion range for it to be considered that, because everybody else will be $500 billion to 1 trillion and they will be at 5 trillion. Just to give you a sense, US economy is today $15 trillion. Chinese is, I think, $21 trillion GDP. So that's the kind of scale you're looking at, right? And then India is what, number 5 or number 6, and we are at $3 trillion. So that's how far 1 and 2 will be. So that's how far I see a Bitcoin or an Ethereum is from everybody else, and therefore they will become the global denomination of the crypto world.
So I think people often get confused when they're just talking about. So ARK recently came up with their in their last I wouldn't say con call, in the last webinar that they hosted. Usme they said they're looking at a 500,000 coin. Okay? And people went crazy ki 500,000 coin kaise ho sakta hai? But only to realize that even if it reaches 500,000 coin, it still will have a lower market cap than, let's say, gold, because gold is still 11,
of
12.
course, gold may go to 15 trillion, right? By then.
Hopefully for gold.
I'm saying May.
That.
So
and that still
it goes up 50%, while gold has gone up 50%, while Bitcoin has gone up 10x,
10x.
from
And
a
that
50,000
still
average.
is still a very small percentage of the total global wealth, that the total addressable market
Core.
out there. So
Yeah,
it's
which is a
easily,
100 trillion, 200 trillion market.
easily.